Uh, this is my first attempt at doing this, so I do feel a bit camera shy, and I still haven't figured out how to use my actual proper camera, which is a Fujifilm camera, and it has great video capability, but I can't make it focus. And I guess I need to buy a microphone for it. So I'm very new to all this, but I've decided to give it a stab anyway, and just talk some things out on video. My name is Megan O'Toole. I'm a writer. My cat is back here. She'll probably join us in a little bit. She loves to have a say in the conversation. And I'm starting this vlog to create space in my life and reestablish space and reclaim space for my writing. So back in August 2021, which is about 8 months ago, I took a job full-time at a small private liberal arts college on their marketing team. Love my team. They're great to work with. But marketing has never been, the job I've aspired to. A lot of my skills do fit into it nicely, but I find it difficult to balance that I have to be, at my computer or in the office a certain chunk of the day, 5 days a week, and that tends to detract from my best writing time. So it's been difficult to balance finding the proper daily writing practice that I used to so easily establish and reintegrate that back into my life, because I'm also an adjunct English instructor at a college. So again, this vlog is just going to be a way for me to talk about writing, discuss those frustrations of balancing and prioritizing writing, and not only make space for it in my life, but also in my mind. I'm also just secretly an annoying individual, and I will take any excuse to talk, I guess. I look really weird today. It's okay. I'm very self-conscious too. I write mostly fiction, prose fiction. I love writing novels. I don't know if I'm any good at it. I have an agent for one of my novels right now, and we're about to go on submission, hopefully soon. And otherwise, I write short stories, and I have a few published. I like obsessing over details, like the light, the textures of things, wind, a good weather day. I don't know. I love small talk. I am a hater, though. I mostly love to hate on things. And yeah, in college I was very pretentious. But I was also really shy and came off as standoffish. In the past few years, I have learned how to have fun, and I do think having fun is a learned skill. To begin with, I want to talk about fondness. So, what does it mean to be fond of your work? I think a lot about writing all the time. So everything I do creation-wise, tends to loop back into my writing. So even if I'm painting or drawing, which are other creative outlets I enjoy that I'm really no good at, a lot of it's just in service of cultivating a proper creative practice that will ultimately tie back to my writing. And I think it's hard to admit it openly, but I am fond of the things I create. And I don't know why that has... Okay, hold on. We have a guest. Genya, come on. Come on. She doesn't like when I sit in the small chair. Genya comes. Okay. This is Genya. Back to fondness. I think it can be kind of difficult to admit that we are, as creators, fond of our work, because we're trained to critique our work. And I think ultimately that's a good thing. We're taught to scrutinize everything in service of the betterment of the work. And that's a necessary and good part of the creative process. And it's actually probably my favorite part of the creative process, is getting feedback from people, integrating that feedback into my next draft, and trying to make the most well-rounded draft I possibly can. But I think admitting that you're fond of your work is a kind of vulnerability that's hard to embrace when you're, going through this extremely critical process of creating, editing, revising, rewriting, whatever it is. I do think it's hard. Like, we as a culture aren't necessarily open to this idea of fondness for a few reasons. I think fondness can come across as, overconfidence. Fondness might be cringy or embarrassing. And I think we're primed to be hard on ourselves. Again, some of that's really good. I think there's a fine line to walk between that critique coming from a place of love and care for your work and the desire to improve it and make it better and more enjoyable for your readers or, appreciators, versus critiquing yourself, being hard on yourself, completely tearing yourself down out of self-loathing. And when we share our work, we're hoping that somebody shares our fondness for it. And that fondness can actually be quite powerful in a sense. Fondness for the work can ultimately, it can be where we get a lot of the enjoyment and thrill out of creating something. I've been trying to get back in touch with, the way I used to feel when I was writing, and I was like 12 years old, and I would write entire books, and I was so proud the first time I finished a first novel. I don't know how long it was. That doesn't really matter. All it matters is that I had a story that was, for me, it felt long, and it had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it also had 6 sequels that I wrote. But it was such a wonderful and joyous feeling to be creating with abandon. Creating with abandon is something that I'm trying to get back to, because I think with that idea of critiquing yourself comes this hesitance, and you really can't be afraid to create something bad. It will hold you back from creating something new and great and fun. Over the pandemic, I was in grad school during the pandemic, so I was teaching and writing my thesis and also taking my own classes, but I was also writing every day, and it was a great feeling. I think part of that was because I had this flexibility to control my own schedule. More on that later in another separate video, because time is the essence. But when it comes down to it, having that flexibility allowed me to create with abandon and have a fondness for my work and connect with that feeling of what it felt like to write when I was a kid, when I didn't care what awards I could win or what I could get published and how it would be received. All I wanted was to create something that I was proud of and that, I would take joy in. So this is just my practice in trying to recultivate fondness and reconnect with abandon, creating with abandon. So thanks for coming on this journey with me, and I'm sure, I don't know if I'll continue making these videos, because who knows? I already feel really overwhelmed by other things happening in my life, but I do think that this is going to be an important part of my process of reestablishing writing as a tenet of my life.